Okay, good morning. We are programming the resurrection mechanic today. So this is a mechanic that every good game with a necromancer or a undead stuff ought to have some kind of resurrection mechanic. And I need to think about, so there's lots to think about in terms of design. Is like, how will this mechanic be invoked? The obvious one being the Staff of Resurrection, but could we have some kind of like artifacts or something that means that when an enemy is killed, that they might be resurrected, something like that. For example, like maybe if an enemy is frozen, they have a chance to be resurrected, which then other factions would have access to, which could be quite fun. There's so many ways you could go with this. Like, of course, the classic Warcraft of having a weapon which, if it kills someone, it puts a debuff on them, and if the enemy dies with that debuff, they're revived as a ghoul, kind of thing. And then there's questions, of course, like, what version of the unit are we reviving? Are we just going to say this unit has died, let's revive a ghoul in their place? Or are we actually reviving that unit with the same weapons and stats and everything that it had before it died? Obviously the former is easy. It's much easier just to create a ghoul. But to create a copy of the thing that was when it was living, I think is much cooler. It's generally less often done. Like, we'll just generally for balancing reasons, but I don't know, I just think it's quite when I revive something that I've killed, I expect it to be able to do the stuff that it did when it was alive, right? Like, to me, that makes sense. Why would we do it with the ghouls? Because it's easier. It's easier to maintain balance. Other than that, I can't think of much. And since we're not really too bothered about balance, I'm more worried about fun and easy, don't be lazy. If you can make something more fun by putting in a bit of extra work, that's the whole point of what we're doing as game devs, isn't it? So my thinking is, it should be a copy of what it was when it was alive, and it can have some different rules on it. So how will this work in practice? I've put in a bit of thought here, but we have this script which is on spawn. And I think... And so what does this do? It basically activates the unit. This needs to be triggered when a unit is spawned, so that once it's returned to the pool, the health is reset to full. We reset the animation trigger of death, and so on, and we just get it going again. Nothing too crazy. We clear its buffs. Hold on a sec. I know this is working, but I just for my satisfaction, if we remove the buffs, then when we spawn a unit, spawn ally. So if we have armor as a talent, so apply upgrade routine. Yeah, okay, but that's one thing. But for... See, this is bad code here. Spawn ally, here we go. And then where does on spawn happen? Okay, so we do on spawn, we clear its buffs, and then we add buffs based on what talents we have. So if we have armor, we give it some armor. Simple. So double check attack speed, because I felt like that was above rather than below. Speed. Okay, so the top one is the player one, yeah, and that's more. And the bottom one is the ally one. Okay. So we don't have to worry about... yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that this one on spawn. So this happens before we add the buffs for talents. So what I want to do is basically, if we did like an on spawn that changed the rules based on it being revived. One of the things we need to think about, and this is why it's one of the reasons it's easier to do it with a ghoul, like rather than reviving the actual thing, is if we were to just spawn like a generic unit. If we were to spawn a generic unit, then we don't have to make like an undead version of each unit. So how can you tell visually that this enemy is undead? Right? Like, so again, in Warcraft, it's a ghoul. You don't need to worry about that, because I think that's one of the reasons. Like, let's say I'm playing Warcraft, I'm playing as Sylvanas, and I'm making a bunch of people undead. Like, I'm hitting them with my black bow. And if they get revived as an ally, if they get resurrected, if it's a ghoul, it's just one character model. But if I'm playing against the orcs, I would need an undead version of each enemy unit. So I would need an undead version of each of the orcs in the game. So that would add a lot of it's expensive, because it means that every time we make a character, we ought to be making an undead version as well, unless we could come up with some filter that easily denotes undead. But I think that's not so easy. Like, what could we do to say, let's just take like a really gnarly unit, like let's take a glutton. So he's got like a fairly odd color, fairly odd shape. How do we turn this into an undead version of itself? We could just put a skull above it. I don't know if we could... Can we just like desaturate? Is that something we can do? Unity desaturate a sprite renderer. Okay, yeah, but is there some way to take this sprite renderer and make it like black and white? The thing is, that still wouldn't quite do it, would it? That wouldn't be compelling enough. That wouldn't look good. So maybe I do just need to revert back to like the typical thing of just having a standard ghoul appear in its place, which essentially just becomes summon, which is a bit boring. I mean, there's something to the animation of it, but if like corpses aren't consistent, corpses don't stay there. We're not going to have like corpse explode and things like that, because we want to, especially with this many units on screen, we want to be done with the corpse as soon as it appears. So this is a design challenge as much as it is a programming challenge, and it's like a budgeting challenge. It's like, how should this work? How do we do resurrections in a game like this? How do we revive our enemy? I mean, I'd quite like to have like a skeleton version of each character. I mean, what you could do, like, is essentially just have a skeleton that has the same weapons. So mechanically, it would still be summoning your old foe. But in but visually, it would just be a skeleton with the right weapons. We could do it based on race, as in... So while there's quite a few different characters here, a lot of them are going to have the same skull, right? These two are obviously going to have the same skull. They're going to look basically the same as an undead. But then we would take a few exceptions, so the orc is going to look a bit different because the orc would still have the teeth, right? So what that would mean, I think that's probably the way we're going to go. The warg would have a different one. And basically we just create a skeleton version of each of these things that sort of has the same... And I guess the difference is, so yeah, Firestarter. So he's got different teeth to a goblin, right? But we can just say, we can just do it racially. We could just say different characters, different races have different skulls, right? Starting to sound a bit dodgy. But the point is, yeah, so this is a brawler, this is an orc. He's effectively going to have the same skeleton as the standard orc, right? Even though the mouth is a bit different, we just create an orc skeleton. So shall we list that out? We need... so we would need orc, skeleton, so skeletons. Orc, goblin, human. What else do we have? I guess we would have different ones for demons. But yeah, I mean, these can have the same skeleton as long as they've got the big tooth, so it looks like an orc. Would they have the helmet? No, I don't think they'd need that. That's fine. Just as a compromise on... So when you revive something, it will still be distinct in the sense that you'll kind of still be able to tell that this is a goblin that you've revived, because it will have the standard goblin grin, right? Totem, I guess... I don't know. What would a totem look like revived? Probably just the same. But then maybe what we could do is just put like a darker filter on it. Just like make it black. Warg Rider is just a goblin. Wayfinder is a goblin. Even though he's got a very different mouth. And he kind of wants to be an orc. He's got like the orc underbite kind of thing going on there, but we don't actually need that. But that's fine. We just still consider him a goblin. He'll end up with the same mouth. And then for humans, and then we've got like the tower. But luckily, all the humans will be quite easy. It would be lovely for them to keep their hats, but that might be asking too much. They'll be denoted by the weapons that they had in life. It'd be lovely for this guy to keep his glasses, but you know, I think that might be... That would require a complete change. And also I've got to consider the fact that I might overhaul all of this art anyway. And at that point I could theoretically do something where we separate the hat from the head. So that when we do our like revived graphic, we change the head. See, like, yeah, he would turn into a skull. We change the like the hat would be kept separate, or like we would say that each unit has something that they'll keep in the afterlife. Like, so for this knight, for example, you could just do... This could just be like black with like red eyes. And that tells you that it's an undead knight. Which to me, that's not a lot of work. So the way this is looking, so we've got our character sprite renderer. Status effects, this isn't a status effect, that's a different thing. But we would have the character sprite renderer. And I guess every unit... So we would give the prefab, so we'd say blacksmith, for example. Blacksmith has a sprite Do they have a sprite even? I don't think they do. They've got a sprite renderer, but we could just say they have a sprite which is the undead version of them. Okay, the other thing to think about... Yeah, and I think that's fine, and I can kind of copy and paste for the most part, but it would actually be really nice if I could make an undead version of each of these sprites, and I don't think that would necessarily be too much work. Let's see how that goes. The other thing to think about is how will this work with object pooling. I don't want to have to make an undead version of each of these prefabs. I would like to just be able to take a prefab and go switch to undead, rather than have all of these folders copied again and made into an undead version of each one as prefabs. That's too much. That's too much work. And it's unwieldy, and it just means more things have to change. No, we're going to have like a switch that you can pull that will turn this into an undead, and it would just change the sprite to... So we're going to have to store the sprite somewhere on the character. Character sprite renderer. One of the things that we do, so let's open this. Okay, we don't do it there, but character. Yeah, so we say, when we start a character, we take all of the like sub ones. So these are the like status effect looks, so and make sure that they are matched to the original sprite. But we might have to go in and store original sprite and undead version. So where would that go? I guess that would go near the top. I mean, God, this is messy as all hell. We'll tidy this up one day, maybe. So public sprite, original sprite, public sprite, undead version. It seems like a lot, but I just think this kind of thing is cool, and it's worth the effort. I really like... We can reuse a lot of the undead versions. Okay, so then we need to say... and I want to do this on spawn thing, and I want to be like, undead or not? Right? Bool undead. Seems a bit... and I'll make a version of unspawn, which doesn't have anything, which just does unspawn false. But you can write in the exception if you want. Not in this, you can just say unspawn true. Right? That works. Okay. So we would say you've been spawned as an undead. We're going to do everything exactly the same, except if undead is equal to true. So we just go if undead, then stuff. Then sprite renderer dot sprite. Is that right? No, so character. Okay, so and where do we do it? sr.sprite character sprite renderer dot sprite renderer 0 dot sprite equals undead version. Else equals original version. And then, just so I don't have to do this over and over again, we will do on awake equals that. And then we would need to go through each one and we need to go through each sprite, each of these prefabs, and assign them an undead version. Right? Okay, and then what's this one where we homogenize all sprites? So this is start. I think this can go in awake. We're just going to make a new one called void homogenize sprites. We'll put that in awake. See if that breaks anything. If not, should be an easy to find and fix. Homogenize sprites. And we're going to do that again. I guess we should do that on spawn as well. So actually we don't really need it on awake. Is that expensive? So this is every time a unit spawns. Units can get spawned quite thick and fast. But really is the... so the homogenized sprites is... I've got some like weird creature on my desk. I think that's like some kind of beetle, but a young one. Or like maybe even a stink bug or something. I don't know. I'm going to leave it. Yeah, so like the homogenized sprites thing basically says take the original sprite, so take, in the case of a blacksmith, take this and then make all of these sprite renderers match that sprite. So this is for buffs and stuff like that. So the outline of the buff kind of matches the shape. So in the case of the blacksmith, we've got, the blacksmith is poisoned. And that's not the shape of the blacksmith. So we want to make sure that this would be the same, right? So it matches. And it's the same with the shadow. So again, his shadow is not matching, but in game it will match. If that makes sense. And we do it like that so that I don't have to go through each and every one. But if I did this every time I spawn the character, that's just needlessly expensive. So maybe I do need to go through. I wonder if there's some way I could do it without running the game and just set these forever. I think there is. So that's an optimization I can do later. So homogenize sprite. And then the other thing I'm thinking is the undead version going to be so drastically different that it would need to be redone? So if the undead version... So I would think that the undead version of the blacksmith has the same hair. Right? And I don't need to make one for each level. The blacksmith... I haven't actually changed anything meaningful, but yeah, save that. The blacksmith... Where are we? So these would all have the same skeleton. It's just the hair. Except skeletons don't have hair. So that's where we would have an issue of... although maybe they should. Like, maybe the skeleton would actually just have the same hair. But then in that case, like, what's different? The nose would be slits rather than a nose. We might see teeth. That we'd have, like, the cheekbone, and we'd have the bigger, hollower eyes with no eyebrows. I should go ahead and draw what I think... So if we go into characters, human beings, and if I take this, and we'll just put it at the top for now, and remove the hat. Except he would still have the hat. But let's just turn the opacity down. How do I do that? No. There was a way I did this before that was nice and easy. I could just very easily hide layers. There it is. It's not too tricky. So this is our so let's figure out what a standard skeleton would look like. So we'll take our off-white and our slightly darker off and our grey and put that there. And let's start with the eyes. So first of all, no eyebrows. Bigger eyes. Teeth. I think this is good enough for teeth. I don't know. Getting kind of good shape for the nose. So that already that's looking a bit like a skeleton, right? Like within the art style of the game. But it's not looking very scary. I'm gonna just I'm not a very good artist, so I'm just gonna get skull. Human skull. Human skull. Okay. So we're going to have the whole like jaw, and I need to think about what color this would be. So we have our sort of grayer color, and it would go all the way across like that. That's already looking a bit more skeleton-y. I don't know if I should do a bit more with the teeth. And I wonder if even the, like, they wouldn't be so bean-shaped in skeleton form. Like, if we actually, like, give them some cheekbones. But that's already looking a bit more grim. And then the nose is like, and then we can sort of, I wanted to do this. I mean, that's got something. Yeah, that's got something. This could be black. Guess it would like appear wider, wouldn't it? Because we can see more of the teeth. Kind of looks a bit cheeky, which is good. Even though it's completely cheekless. And And then do we actually go ahead and cut some of this off? I don't think so. I think this is fine, kind of just creating that shape within the context of the bean. No eyebrows. Maybe some like cracks in the skull. Well, I think that would be like for the more advanced characters. But I think this is our in-house skeleton. This is our in-house skull shape. I think that works. What am I missing? What else could I do? I mean, we've got these like holes in the cheeks that you see with the skeleton. The seams, they're not actually cracks, they're like seams. So we could do more of like, we could give it more shape. But I think this kind of works. So let's bring this in a bit more. And that's got a kind of something to it. Yeah, so that would be like our standard baseline for a skeleton. And then so then we can give it the hat. And now that's a soldier. And that's a... So here's our different levels of soldier. That's a level 1 soldier. It's a level 2 soldier. Ah, but we would need the helmet. So, I mean... It would be a bit of work, but given the art style, it wouldn't actually be that much work. To see, this is my problem. Is I'm kind of like, I want every single tier of every single unit to have their own skeleton head, which means doubling the art load. But I just kind of think it's worth it. I don't know. So there's a couple ways I can approach this. One is to sort of have the hats as separate entities within the game, although I think that technically is worse for performance. So that actually the hats are always different, and then I can change the face, or I just really copy everything. So we would do something crazy, like we would make a new file. No, we would take human beings and we would save as undead. Human beings undead. And I'm going to go through each one. This is so crazy. And give them, and just make them undead. Right? So, Sean undead looks like... And so I'm going to need to copy this skeleton, this skull, a whole bunch of times. But basically, I'm going to go through... And basically I'm taking this and I'm then deleting this. This is okay. I can mess around with this because like, how much work is this really? Right? It's not that much work, especially compared to like changing the setup. Right? And the advantage is that while it's sort of, I'm technically creating new assets, I'm not actually like having to do very much. Like I'm not redrawing this each time. I'm just like doing it again with each hat. And even if I wanted to make changes to this skeleton figure, this is wrong. I've got pixels on the body that should be on the hat. I guess if it doesn't make a difference. Like this just isn't actually that much work. I just go through each one. And I'm just changing the head for a skull. Because ultimately, most of these heads are the same. Now this one, I could go in and be a bit more intelligent and say, okay, the hat would actually need some color changes. So we'll go and we'll make it like black. So we take this and make it like that. And then we take this color, make it even more black. And then we take the eyes and make them red. No, red. And we do the same. And yeah, I think this is the way to do it. Like, it seems crazy. It's like, wait, so you're really going to redo every asset in the game with an undead version? Yeah. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. That's part of the fun of having a simple art style. Okay, and then this color would change. So we'll go for the same. His eyes already are red when you level him up fully. That's fine. Them like maybe it'd be like a cold blue or something, but yeah, I think this is sufficiently. Yeah, this is great because it's like less. Yeah, it's not actually that much work. Base from here, copy it. Yeah, looks good. Good enough. Because like while the skeleton wouldn't actually have the beard and the head. Oh, that's a mistake. Wouldn't technically have the beard and the hair. It's kind of, it just really lets you know which character that was in life. Okay, so this one. First of all, I want to take this and paint over that because that's a mistake. Okay, how do I make this look undead? I mean, I guess you could say it just looks the same. But let's go with these same red eyes. Because it's already black. I mean, you can't really get much more. Like, really you're going to be able to tell because of the health bars. But what if we had... yeah, I don't know. How do we make this look undead? Like, I feel like we would have this, but like coming under the hood, which is already a bit of a pain. So if I put it in the base here, in each case, And then if I and take the hat and kind of just like finish it, and then yeah. And then we kill the eyes. Yeah, that's fine. I can fill that in later. And then that's basically, yeah, that's kind of getting the job done, I think. So let's just finish these in. That it's a bit weird how the thing gets like redder over time. It's not ideal. Slight differences there. Yeah, that works. That's our undead rogue. Bit funky. Yeah, okay, that works. And then yeah, this guy, I guess we could remove the hair, but I think the hair is like part of it. Like keep the hair. Oh, so we're taking undead base and putting it over the base. Yeah, like he looks great. Yeah, perfect. No eyebrows. That's part of it, I think. No eyebrows kind of gives them that sort of kind of spooky look. And just for the sake of like, they just need like one feature to sort of say, to remind us who they were in life. The looter just is exactly the same. That's fine. Yeah, like nothing crazy, but you can tell it's the sort of higher tier version. Would we want to keep the moustache and stuff like that because that's fairly iconic to the character? I don't think so. No, let's just do like this again in the effort of saving time. Because again, this guy has his hat and it's all good. And we can come and edit these later if we want for those like little touches, like yeah, putting the moustache on the bard, putting some like skulls, putting some like cracks in the skull and stuff like that. Okay, undead tower would be like a black tower. Yeah. With the flag of the, I guess, I don't know what, I think the colours, I think I need to change like the faction colours a bit. But if we were just to say that this would change to the faction colour, which let's say is, we don't have this. This isn't a thing that exists. So for the wizard, the beard appears below, like the beard is not part of the hat. The beard is part of the face. That's fine. As long as the hat's there, I think that's fine. And like I said, we can always come and like change some of these. Okay, where was I? Yeah, so we had a color. Let's say it's this, and we're just changing the color of the banners here. Might end up being a little bit hard to spot, but again, like I think we don't need to. We don't need to go too crazy here. We don't need to be too detailed. I just want it to work. I just want there to be the template here that we can use moving forward. Yeah, that could be cool if this one had the lipstick as well, but I think the hair is enough. Blacksmith has the hair. That's good. I think easier to cut this and then do that paste. Right. Okay, yeah, I mean, like, I'd like for the blacksmith to have the beard. I'd like for the wizard to still have the beard. But I think this is a fairly good showing. And that's the kind of detail that we can bring up later. So, like, the point is that every undead unit, so like one thing that's a bit annoying is it's not clear this is the same, this is exactly the same, whereas there should be, so it would be hard to tell at a glance, is that a tier 3 or is that a level 3 or a level 4 witch? At this point, like what difference is that going to make really to your decision making, to your gameplay? Not much really. But if we did want to go in and kind of change that up a bit, I think this is a nice level of detail. And yeah, we might change the way the skeleton looks, but I think we've got quite a sort of a nice little thing going on here. All right. So this is Human Beings Undead. We'll export that. In characters, Human Beings Undead. Very good. So, for example, we would say with the blacksmith, you have your where did I put it? Did I not save it yet? So your character has these new things on them. Keep an eye on my phone. Someone's babysitting our baby today. So far, so good. No messages saying that the baby's exploded or anything. So that's nice. Okay. So yeah, for example, with the blacksmith, we have... Oh yeah, I need to go in and do that. So we take our... And I need to do this intelligently because it's not just a matter of... Because I've got to record where the bottom is. So I need to like basically copy those settings. So, and this is a fun number, isn't it? Nice easy one to remember. Okay, 72 by 96. So I'll go into Human Beings Undead, Sprite 2D and UI, and it's 32-bit. Keep all of that. Point no filter, and then apply. Open sprite editor, slice by cell size, and what was it, 72? Oh, I can just do it by eye. 72 by 96, I believe. And the pivot is custom. It's 0.5. And this number that I brought over. And slice. That seems correct, doesn't it? Okay. And then we need to go, and this is going to be a job and a half. I'll probably do it off stream or something. But I need to go through each human now that I have them. And in each case, I need to assign, and I don't need to actually go inside the prefab, but I do need to, so we'll collapse that, go into character. Original sprite is set, but undead version, and I need to have this open. And so Bannerman. Like that. I need to do that for each of these. And I just need to make sure I'm not like double clicking on these prefabs so I don't lose. Oh no, so yeah, this is going to be a problem. So I have to go, can I make like another window? Because what I want is to basically have this open in like another tab. No. I just want to like have this. Can I open an additional project tab? Because I need to take something. Can I have another one? Window. What's this come under? Can I have two in Unity? Can I have two project windows open?
Greetings, it's Maxo.
Yeah, okay, so how do I do that? You can have, so, context menu, 3 dots, add tab, project, so three dots, add tab, project. Okay, now I've got 2 project windows open. So let's just put them both, put one here, and one here is fine, I guess. So this way I can do this. No! But then it oh no. That's not at all what I wanted. I don't want it to, the whole point of having 2 of them was so that they wouldn't be the same. I guess one inherits from the other but not the other way around. So, Bannerman 2. Do I have Bannerman 2 selected? I do. And undead version is this, even though they're all, actually no, they are different. They are each different. Okay. Bannerman 3. So why does it do that? Why does it do that? That's so annoying. Because this just means I have to like, I have to bounce between these menus because I have to select a prefab and then go here and I have to do this for all of them, for every single character in the game. There's too many clicks. Too many motions to do these simple things. Okay. The other thing is like name them. Check the YouTube, see if anyone in the chat has an idea for me. Nope. I'm trying to think now of like an intelligent way to do this, because this is gonna take forever. So yeah, there's no point having more than one project tab open them. That sucks. And when did it become? When did the view change to the list instead of bigger icons? I mean, I can get used to this, but change in Unity, change project window from list to view. Okay, like that. All right. I need to think of an intelligent way to do this. I mean, one way I could do it is just put on a podcast, put on some music, and do some meditation while I fix those one by one. But there's got to be a better way. It's so annoying that I can't have two project windows open that have different stuff in them. That's really annoying. That. Add tab. Project. So if I change this one, so I want to go through Berserker. This one is a different one. Does it have to be like that with my sprites on it? See, it just changes that one as well. Like, that's so useless. But this one doesn't change that one. So if this one I select... that's really annoying. Is that just when I double click something? So what if I have... So I have Berserker. And but on this one, I would like to see my character sprites. And I go, take this. This is so bloody awkward. Okay, and then I select Berserker. And then that opens it up here as well. Like, that's so useless. I mean, the other way of doing it would be like human or like undead. And then just find it. But it's not previewing, so it's going to be a pain in the ass to find it. Is that really what I'm going to have to do? Select that. Select that. Open that. Oh, I forgot. And now I've lost it, so I have to go back. Select that. Select that. Scroll down. Drag and drop. Okay. And then for Berserker 2. Back here, Berserker 3, select that, Berserker 3, drag and drop. This is going to be a nightmare. And then I know, I mean, I could do it by, I go Berserker 70. Like, I can't be sure that is the correct. Okay, and then I click it to double check. Oh, here's one way I could do it. Oh wait, no, that's going to be a pain as well. So then this one. And I just find I could do it in batches like this. So make all of these. And it's the looter, which I believe is this one, which in this case is the same, but just for the sake of like doing it like this. So then I take my looter, and this one is next one down. This one is 2 down. This one is 3 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, I think that's going to be how I have to do it. What a pain in the ass. Okay. Before I do that, so assign, I need to make a thing. So assign, because I'm not going to do that on stream. Assign all undead sprites. Okay. Skeletons. Okay, so then now the thing to do would be to try and do the same for the green beans. Characters, green beans. We do a save as green beans undead. And I want to try and make an undead version of each character. Sure, yeah, okay, they do have caps. But unfortunately, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. Because I have, for the hats, I've not even bothered doing hats. So, like, what we should see, because they do have hats, they do have defining features, but they are not drawn on top. Okay? So, what actually may be the quicker and easier thing to do. See, this is but there's nothing quick or easy about this. See, we don't keep the hat. We don't keep the hat. The hat is not. The hat is just part of the same sprite. So one thing I could do is go through each of these and like take the hat and put it on a separate layer. Or I just go through and edit them to be so yeah, the hair is not on a separate layer in most cases. So like if I was just to change these all for skeletons, there would be nothing telling you that it's like we lose that fun factor. So how hard would it be to take this, paste it to layer 2, but remove yeah, I'm just looking at this picture here, so then we can actually remove the actual, like, so this way we've preserved the hat. And this is so awkward, but yeah, I could take this one and go like that. I mean, I guess the skeleton versions won't have ears, will they? Okay. So then if I took... Okay, and then let's try this. So I want to take our goblin here. And because this is our new file, I can mess with this one. I can... Let's make this a bit bigger. I've got my white color. I've got my off-white color. I've got my grey color. And so you don't have a nose. But you will have, I guess, the same as the human ones. Maybe a bit bigger. And then the eyes, no eyes, bigger eyes. With the shading around. And I think we get rid of these like face muscles, right? Just cut those out completely. They never had eyebrows to begin with, which already made them a bit unhinged looking. And then we'll do the same sort of, I think the teeth are good. The teeth are fine. Don't change the teeth. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, yeah, there we are. Doesn't look great, does it? So it doesn't really look like a skeleton, does it? So we would remove the sort of shape of the mouth. So let's like just redraw that, right? So yeah, let's just try and so the goblin mouth would be sort of more symmetrical. And maybe actually more like big and manic. That could actually be quite fun. So let's... So we wouldn't have this like side grin. It would be more of an even grin. But like what if... So yeah, actually, let me grab that again. So we will actually just bring this back. I'll just undo a bunch. Okay. So we kind of just want to like remove the lips, right? And for starters, let's just see how this looks. Okay, yeah, that's already looking a bit better. And we kind of remove the lips. So the black would be like, let's say like that. So actually the grin is much bigger on these undead goblins. So let's just remove all that. Okay, yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna look okay. Sort of seems time consuming, but actually in the scheme of things, an artist would take much longer to do this. Obviously they do it a lot better, but like I might overhaul all of this art one day, but I think it's still good to sort of spend a bit of time with it. And we want this kind of, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but somewhat symmetrical. Kind of want this shape to be like we either do double, we either do full angles or weak angles, but we stick to one. And we can keep some of that, like, asymmetry, I guess. Keep some of that, like, bigger on his left side. The black point should be pointing up. And we go, let's use the line tool. And then we don't actually need this. And there we have, I think, an undead goblin. So it's supposed to be programming. But we've ended up drawing. Well, we'll do programming later. Okay. How's that look? Yeah, I think it looked quite good with the sort of hard line. Just having a quick gander back at sprites. My brain's gone blank. Just having a quick gander back at here. Okay, so we have a connecting line. Back to the cheekbone. That. And then, yeah, I guess the chin should come out. Chin doesn't have to be like it's kind of look quite rounded there. I feel like I've kind of ruined it a bit. Oh, the ears. Won't have ears, will it? What do ears look like on a skull? See, I can't do this stuff from memory. Okay, yeah, just like tiny little hole where the jaw connects. Yeah, that's we'll just ignore that then. Change the name of the stream setting up. Revive. Resurrect mechanic. Okay. Yeah, I mean this is looking pretty gnarly. Fairly happy with this. This is a bit misshaped. Or is this side a bit misshaped? So the goblins would be like, yeah. So if we took this and put it here as your Goblin Ranger. Should they have the ears? I'm gonna like see how other people have interpreted Goblin skeleton. Yeah, they don't give him ears. Yeah, they're very toothy. So our standard goblin can just look like this. That's fine. And we don't have to... We can like add some like scarage to it. Maybe in the same sort of places. So we'll do like... so I'll just copy from here. So if this one has like a... And then we have another one that has the one up here. It's like roughly the same sort of places. These are all just details I can fix later. I mean, this isn't going to be like in a place where players can examine it. So it doesn't have to be like super perfect. I mean, it's not. It's very far from very far from perfect, let alone super perfect, but. Yeah, we kind of matched the scars a bit, so it's not totally just bland. Okay. God, I can't believe I'm making an undead version of each. But I guess we've already got our skeleton. We've already got one of our undead characters now. We can kind of use a lot of the same sort of vibe. Okay. So then this one is basically just... Yeah, he just gets a hat. Not that one, this one. He just gets a hat halfway through, and it's going to be difficult to tell. Is that a Goblin Ranger? Or is that just a Goblin? Same with the Loot Goblin, but I'd like to keep the nose ring. Except how? What would it be attached to? So, the Loot Goblin is just the same. Just there's no change. He's got like piercings and stuff. But what I would like is to keep the hat. So the best way to do this is I take this, go to layer 2, copy it on, and then delete, and I can do a nice delete all of that color except for the black. And there we have our isolated hairdo. That's not actually too painful. And then I could sort of just like keep that across all of them. But yeah, so here we have our skull. Put that here, and then we get our skull with a hairdo. And maybe the gold eyes. Maybe this one can have gold eyes too. Just so that you know who it is. I mean, it's not going to matter too much. It's like it's all just the chaos of the battle. We could, and if you've been here from the beginning of the stream, we could just be giving you ghouls. We could just go full Warcraft 1, Warcraft 3, and just be like, you do not revive the thing that as it was in life. You just get a ghoul. I like having the copy. So this one, okay, so yeah, we can copy the hat over here. And let's sort of just do that for each one first. And then for the third one, the hat is the same. And then we color swap, color, destroy, 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 destroy. And then we just need to get rid of these bits. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but I think it's worth it. Bit of work to get undeads looking good. And then hopefully for the next stream I'll be more into the programming side of things. Okay, so let's grab our skeleton goblin and I guess we should give the tier 3 one in each case. It should have the iconic, I think it's iconic at this point, red eyes for the tier 4. We can have the yellow eyes. Okay, we could do, there's more goblins to do, but let's just go through in some sort of order and say let's do this orc. And give it red eyes. I'm getting bored of this, but you know, let's do it. So an orc skeleton would be fairly simple. So I can just ransack this one because this is green beans undead, and take our white, take our off-white, take our grey, put that there, and get rid of these facial parts, get rid of the eyebrows, think I can copy the eyes from and the nose from the goblin, so I'll just make a start like that. That's already looking pretty freaky. And so yeah, we've got our cheekbone line. So let's just run with that and bring that all the way to the top. No ears. So orcs all have these little beady red eyes. Okay, let's keep that then. Yeah, okay. It's looking like in a weird way it's like more sinister, isn't it? The fact that it's like a little bit downplayed. A little bit less like intense than the goblin, right? Do something kind of similar to the humans. Just give them this. I think that's kind of good. That kind of works. I don't need to go much further than that. Like that's really sinister looking. Again, I'll just get some, see if I can get some inspiration. Orc skeleton. Yeah. So I don't want to go much wider on the mouth than that, but we are just showing what was hidden there before. Wider on the mouth than it's like big fangs, big bottom fangs. And the red eyes kind of really sells it. And I'll do a similar thing as to what I did with the first goblin, where I'll kind of copy some of the scarring, just so that this does have some character. Is that cheating? These orcs are eternally angry, even when they're dead. Yeah, okay. And then so the drummer, what's different about the drummer? Nothing really. That's fine. He has a drum. He'll be okay. I don't need to like change this one too much. It's just the drummer. There. Oh yeah, gotta give the big red eyes for the level 4 ones. I was just wondering if maybe the eyes could be the pure denotion of rank. Okay, the warg. So let's do, so once again, so wolf skull. So yeah, we won't have the buttony nose bit. Oh, hello. We won't have the buttony nose bit, so we'll need to get rid of that. But it does have that similar like give him bigger. Guess we should let him keep his eyebrows. I don't know. So we lose these fluffy bits. Nothing crazy. I mean, the wolves don't come up too often. Lose the ears. Okay. And then yeah, we really need to like these look like lips, so we'll want to like. So let's just get rid of this. Let's get rid of the chin. Let's just try again with the mouth. And do really like... Let's try that again. So it actually kind of turns up quite a lot. So we sort of have like looking at a wolf's skull. Maybe not that much. But yeah, quite a big upturn. Yeah, okay, that's starting to look a bit more sinister. Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, I feel like I'm spending too much time with this, so I am just gonna, like, the wargs, I'm afraid, will just be all the same. But we will have white eyes to denote rank. And then here we have our deformed orc. So can we like translate that? God, I'm putting way too much work into this. Because it's all in the flesh, that deformation. Yeah, I mean, like, okay. And then we go back to the goblin. And why does this look funky on the side here? It doesn't look right on these pictures. I guess that's just a minor bug. Okay, so yeah, so we want to, and then we want to keep the headband. So we'll take our headband, copy it into layer 2, do that again over here, do that again over here, and then we take, we do a delete that color, delete that color, delete that color. And then do our best to efficiently get rid of the leftovers. Still left with quite a lot, obviously. Okay. And then we take our skeleton. And it's quite clear which goblin this one is. Yeah, looking good. Don't need to spend too much longer on that. Okay, I guess we should try and preserve his top knot here, but this should actually be one of the more straightforward ones, because if I take this, copy that there, take this, take this, copy that there, take this, copy that there. Yeah, it's not too bad. So this one looks difficult, but actually, if I, yeah, that works. Okay, and then quite easy to remove that. And then quite easy, yeah, pretty straightforward actually. Okay, good. So we take our skeleton. Yeah, and he can't hide that he is actually a goblin under all of that. And then we'll take our red eyes. Iconic red eyes. Make sure that the highest ranking one has that. Wait, is that right? Yeah. Okay, this one I think can probably get away with skipping the hair and just doing the hood. And is that... bloody hell, I didn't do any of the hats properly. So this one just gets the goblin then. And then I essentially want to just delete. Yeah, so I want to take this, so copy it into layer 2, layer 1, layer 2, layer 1, layer 2. Okay, and I need to take, and I just need to like get rid of the goblin inside there. Actually, I think I can take this one. Because there's not actually much change. It's just the teeth and everything. But and then so if we said, let's grab our goblin and just pop him in, even if it's behind. And on each one, if I deleted this color, and this one, and this one, and this one, we end up with, let me see that properly, please. Yeah, that looks good. Except he's still got the beard. Okay. And actually we can take that. So we can keep the eyes. The grin can go then. His ears keep popping out. So then we could like do the same thing. So that's the level 2, but then yeah, then they just look the same. I think this is fine. This is fine. Totem, we'll just paint it black. Maybe do some kind of frost fire. There we are. Yeah. And lucky for this goblin, fat doesn't stay on you when you're dead. So we'll just take, yeah, layer 1 of that. And I guess this can be like, I think it's easier just to sort of make this as it is. With the red eyes. Than it would be to like, I mean, how do you denote fat on the skeleton? Okay. Right. More of these, and yeah, I think I would like the hat to stay exactly as it is. Oh, this one actually does. This is the only one that does. Okay, brilliant. So we can take this one, go blap, 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 and just, so it's a bit quicker, take this and paste over the last one. Good. Orc. He's got the helmet. That's lovely. Makes my life a lot easier. We take our orc. And I think he's already got like the scars, so we'll take this one. And we go. Humans was much easier, wasn't it? Okay, that one. Yeah, great. No, that's not right. That's Goblin. Where's our orc with the scars? There he is. So we'll take this one and then we'll fix the eyes. Looking good. And then we just need to good. Okay, we need to extract the hair off this one. So we'll do the color replace. Okay, and then if we take our orc, no, and it shouldn't be that one, not the scarred up one, just the normal one. There we are. Oh yeah, yay. Okay, this one, his hair should be separated. Okay, now we can just copy in yeah, that's clear enough, I think. And finally, okay, this should be an easy one, so I'm gonna take all of it and bring it up to there too. Okay, and we will get rid of all colours except for the fiery bits. And the teeth and the earrings. Actually, no, yeah, let's go to the earring. We do actually want this over here on layer 1 and on here as well. Take our orc. That looks cool, I think. Yeah. Okay. Oi, oi, oi. Green beans undead. We set up the sprites. Oh. Let's re-export that with the proper opacity. And it's got the same settings, nice. Okay, right, we have undead versions of all of the units that we had in the game. Oh boy. Okay, we've done the drawing, and then I'm gonna have a job of making sure that basically assigning each of these sprites, and I'm gonna spare you from watching me doing that. So yeah, assign all undead sprites. And the code is quite simple. Yeah, we need to do some stuff of like, where is it? It's undead. So it's like, if they're undead, then we use the undead version of the sprite. So that's that. And so now the thinking is, so what's different about an undead one, besides the main one being the faction? So how would we determine which team? So put on undead team. So When we spawn an ally, we add them to a team. Yeah, we always add them to team 0. When a unit is resurrected, they won't necessarily be on team 0 though. Spawn ally, gets the pooled object, and then does the on spawn thing, and we would say team. Yeah, so if we had a script that was like resurrect a unit, the team that we give it, so we would just say like spawn ally so let's put that in here. Say yeah, so we set the team and then we do the on spawn. So if we set the undead team, so set to team of undead of resurrection caster, and then like reduce stats a bit. Right? So it would be like a lower power one at first, and then so if we set the team, but if we don't set the team, it will just be a spawn ally. So actually, I think the bit that needs to be told this is actually spawn ally bull resurrect undead. Yeah. And this one is certainly false. So wait, what does the ultimate do? Yeah, to me, man, and then okay, so if you don't say anything, it'll just spawn ally, which does gm.c.spawn ally. Oh, there's a bit spaghetti, but that's fine. Okay, for now that's fine. So we say bool undead if it's undead. So actually this stuff should go in here. Just got to progress to the next stage of an interview. I was expecting a sorry, but we're not moving forward with your interview. But I just got a you're moving to the next step, so that's nice. It's not being offered the job, but it is a next step. That's really nice. Okay, so when we spawn an ally, yeah. So have I removed it from that? Sorry, that's been a big blow. That's the second time on stream, I think, in the last couple of weeks, within the space of, in the last couple of weeks that I've gotten big news on stream. It's not that big, but we'll see. Okay, so on spawn, and we don't use this Bull Undead anymore because we don't need it. And then we don't really need that one either. Okay, ally instance on spawn. Yeah, okay, so then if Undead, change the thing, otherwise keep the old one. And then ally instance.team equals team of the caster. So I need to figure out how that would work. And then reduce stats. So we would have, because like I could just make a new bit of code, but I think I'd like to use this code. It's just like everything you need to spawn an ally, right? So just to tidy it up a bit, this is all. So this checks if the player has upgrades. Okay, but this is for the player. So if we're, so this might not act, so this isn't necessarily spawn ally, this is spawn a unit. Okay, I need to think about that in different terms. So spawn ally is not where it should go. So sorry, I keep going back and forth here. That's the nature of RAD, isn't it? Rapid agile development. So this is when a unit spawns, but we're saying so like enemy spawner. This might be like the kick in the arse I need to kind of homogenize this. So it spawns an enemy. Or spawns an ally. Well, perhaps what it would be is something like, so, I mean, yeah, we haven't really lost anything, but let's just pop that there so it exists somewhere. So we would have a thing. Where would it go? This would be raise void raise undead. This would be a public void raise undead, and then it's kind of like bool player so then would that go on the character? So where is it going to happen? One of the places it's going to happen is weapon container. It'll be like, I have a new weapon type, which is, this is a resurrecting move. And yes, it's a resurrecting move. And then that would do the thing, but then it might also come from somewhere else. So yeah, this would be a GM raise undead, and is it on our team? Is it on the enemy's team? So bull friendly, I guess. even though we've already used that elsewhere. Okay, so if friendly is equal to true, if friendly, else, and we would say we would say spawn ally. We would say enemy spawner dot spawn Okay, so we would need our prefab. Except we're not taking it from a fresh prefab. We're taking a dead unit. So, but I guess for intents and purposes, like, so yeah, we would be taking a unit and like we wouldn't be resetting its position. Its position would be where it was when it died. So there's a lot to consider here. Because when we spawn a unit, we like automatically just like give it a position, but we want to say no, spawn it but don't give it a position. Keep it where it was. So what would we need? So when we spawn an ally, get pulled object. We don't need get pulled object. We need transform.position. So let's just copy this. So if friendly, we say and we're going to be targeting a character, like a character that already exists. Let's call it corpse. So corpse.position doesn't change, so we don't need to talk about that. We're not pulling an object. And corpse is, we don't need to get component. Team. So we don't need bool friendly. We need list character team. So we say corpse.team equals team. Yeah. And corpse.onSpawn. And onSpawn doesn't do anything with team. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I think we can. Oh yeah, so ally instance. So yeah. Ally. So yeah, corpse. So we'll just do this. Sprite renderer 0 the sprite the corp equals corpse.undead version corpse. And then I need to make sure, so that's going to change it. So I need to do like if we're not doing, if it's not undead, so just on spawn I will just have a note, and hopefully this isn't too expensive, but we just say sprite renderer. So we'll just, forgive me, but I'm just going to copy this. Original sprite, just so that they don't, like, if we're reusing the same one. Do we want to draw from the same pool? Because it's like... they'll just kind of overwrite each other. Let's think about that later. Let's just yeah. Will it overwrite? This is the only one we're missing from here. Let's just see if that like appears to be an issue. So basically, so when I say will it overwrite, what I mean is, if we have, let's say, 50 mages, we've reached our cap of how many mages we can have. But if I've revived, if the enemy has revived some of my mages, some of those mages will be on the enemy team, and then if I create a new mage, it will delete the oldest one and replace it with my new one, which is not necessarily what I want. But is that really going to be an issue? The thing is, we need to kind of cap the amount of units anyway. So it's like the best way to... So let's say, yeah, I've got 50 mages. The enemy has revived some of them for their team. But then I just keep spawning in mages and delete some of their revived ones. If I've got 50 mages, that means they're not going to be able to revive a dead mage because all of them will be like there. So the alternative is that I say, spawn them in. So don't use an existing corpse. Make a copy. So I'm just going to put that as a note, like make a copy or use corpse. Because then that's the hot. I mean, that would be easy if I was just instantiating it, but we've got object pooling to think about. I mean, maybe for these ones it's fine just to instantiate them and then delete them. But then what if your whole strategy is to use these? And then they would have to have different, like, yeah, okay, so... Okay, analyze this AP fill is equal to null. Okay. And then enemy spawner HP bar. Do we not do any of that? Because it's green by default. HP bar. Really? Okay. Okay, yeah, and these are allied stuff. Shield provisions, dagger provisions, which I'd say wouldn't apply. So if we just go ahead and copy this over here, yeah. Set HP bar color, we can just leave that there, and then on spawn. Yeah, this applies to both allies and enemies, so we would just have a good old on spawn. So if and I think that should work. So like we've not changed the position because we're just resurrecting it where it died. I think that's kind of important because I just feel like you won't notice in the late game, but I think in the early game you just really want to see that the enemy that you've revived with your necromancy staff is in the same spot where it died. But we need to think about object pooling and the way in which the object will... Yeah, but we still need to think about object pooling because we want to still use object pooling, but we don't necessarily want to use the same pool. But that kind of adds so much weight because it means that every time we're spawning a unit, we need to spawn the other one, and then if it's like but it's technically it's the same object, so it's the same prefab, so I would have to put in some exceptions. Yeah. And we'll go int strength. Okay. Well, first of all, so we can leave some of that like like put a pin in all of that. Weapons, staff of resurrection, and what does it do? Should we want to look in upgrades? Staff of resurrection resurrects dead allies. No, resurrects dead units. Okay. And the weapon, attack type, revive or resurrect, which will be a new attack type. Damage non-applicable. So none of this is applicable. But let's say we use damage as like the number. Yeah, let's do that. But we'll keep everything else the same. Attack speed would be like slow. Range is the same as a heal. AoE. Ooh. Because you might want it to be like you're going to revive more units on a clump of space where there's been lots of deaths. So yeah. Let's start with a decent bit of AoE. Just to see, like we can always change it later. So let's just keep attack speed at 4. 4. 4. AoE gets bigger. Range is the same. And we are attack type dot resurrect. Or should be like raise or something. Friendly. No. Heal, no. And then it's going to have its own targeting logic. Okay, so attack type. pretty shortly. Time for me to go. Okay. Resurrect. Raise undead. Yeah. So we would need to. I need to go soon. But here we have update all targets. And this is where we decide which target we're going to go for. The weapon, the character is going to be the same, but for the weapon, that's going to depend on friendly. And do we have like update targeting? There's going to be a bit of script where I decide who are the targets for this weapon container. Set targeting type. If friendly is false, target list is anyone who's not on my team. If friendly is true, and actually I've already updated this, so if friendly is true, then target list equals team character team. And I want to say if weapon dot attack type is equal to attack type dot resurrect. Do it one way, otherwise this would be if it's not. If it's resurrect, then target list. Oh, this is why we need lists of lists. Because basically I want the resurrect to work on friendly and enemy units. And so, like, I recently did a thing where... So before it was like each weapon and each character would have a list of lists of characters, which is actually the best config. But it just was annoying because it meant that every time they picked a new character, they would have to go through this list of lists. So I changed that to just be a list instead of a list of lists. And I then realized why I had done it with a list of lists. And this is one of the reasons, because I want to be able to say target list is everyone. Because I think everyone is a potential target of a revive. So in the case of so I need to do that. So that's going to go on my list. Assign all undead sprites. That I'm going to do off stream. So I'll do that like while listening to a podcast or something, because it's going to be very boring. And I need to return to using lists of lists for target lists. And that is going to be a pain in the ass. But no, it shouldn't be too bad. Okay. and that's going to come into play here. So we go to do set all lists. Assign all lists. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave this here. Thank you very much for everyone who joined or who's joining after the fact. Really appreciate the support. Join me again at 1 p.m. Going to do some more. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye. Tool chats.